I actually do think she came into her own in this episode. She's finally establishing herself.
Anyway, let's do this. This is 4. Doctor Who, Season 11, Episode 4, Arachnids in the UK. Yeah, you were
I
saying
know
about...
you said you didn't like it, but I actually really did like this one.
No, I didn't care for it, and it didn't feel like... It didn't feel like she went anywhere. She's still sort of stuck. I didn't feel like her personality did... There was one little thing that worked, and that was the whole... it was like the show just a little bit of any sort of personality was her. I should get a flat and a couch, and I could sit on a couch. Then I thought to myself, you remember the Power of Three with the cubes? I think it was Power of Three with the cubes.
Yeah.
You had a couch. You were with the pawns at their flat, and you had a couch, and you sat on it for all of about 30 seconds before you got bored and did about a billion things, and then it only took 5 minutes. So, yeah.
And I do think her version of the Doctor is becoming a lot more Matt Smith-like as she goes.
Which that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's not. He's a really good Doctor.
Yeah. Well, there's little glimmers of it, and you see it every once in a while. But yeah, it's not perfectly. It's not like all the time him, which is okay. You don't want it to be perfectly trying to ape what 11 did. But yeah, I'd like her to have some personality, and she's got just this very generic Doctor personality right now, and I still stand by that. I think she just doesn't. She hasn't.
There.
She has little moments here and there, and maybe in retrospect it'll be easier to see her personality be built up, but it just feels like she doesn't really have much of anything. Like, I knew exactly, Eccleston, you know who he is. The Tennant, you knew who he was first episode. 11, you got a good idea of what he was like off the bat. 12, yeah, boom, grumpy, yeah, you got him immediately. 13, it's taking a while to really what her deal is. What is she? She's sort of been generic Doctor, and not that that's a bad thing, but I'd like her to have a personality of her own. It doesn't have to be like any of the other Doctors we've seen. In fact, that's fine, but something. And it just feels like she's just not being given anything to really,
work with.
Yeah, work with. It's not Whittaker failing to do a good job. She's doing a good job. She's just not being given anything. And she's just not been given any, like, there's no feel of what this Doctor is. You can't put your finger on that's this Doctor's little quirk. I mean, you got this, main tower of what the Doctor is, and then, every Doctor decorates it.
From what I've seen of Whittaker's Doctor is she has a little bit of a playfulness to her.
Yeah, but it's not consistent enough. There's a little bit of it.
She has that ADHD sense to her. That's very kind of like she's very much like a puppy almost.
Yeah.
That puppy where she's all like, ooh, shiny.
She also very much likes to tease her antagonist.
Yeah.
But it's not quite formed yet, and it'll happen at some point. She'll do something that's like, all right, that's what 13's about. That is her moment. that we'll see, that's
Her
her
shtick.
that's her giraffe dance. That's her, this or that, but it just feels like I can't really grab hold of what she is yet. She's just sort of there.
You're trying to grab hold of her?
Well,
No.
I mean, I
Grab
don't
hold of
play.
the essence of what she's doing. The personality.
Yeah, that essence, man. That essence.
Anyway, Arachnids in the UK. Yeah, the ending was really, I mean, it was sort of a generic. In some ways, it's very generic with the spiders and whatnot. But the ending was. It felt like he didn't really think it through and didn't know how to finish the episode. It finished, but it didn't feel finished, and there were a lot of
Finished.
things that didn't really work. Like, okay, so this giant spider is suffering, slowly dying. He puts it out of its misery so it's no longer in pain, and you're like, you shouldn't have done that. It was in pain. That was merciful.
Then
He
again,
wasn't doing it out of mercy, though. He was doing it out of. He's
it's a giant
dick who
spider.
likes his
It's also a
gun
giant spider. It's not like you can negotiate with it. I mean, if it's one thing if you can negotiate with it, like a Zygon, you can negotiate with a Zygon. You can negotiate with, this and that. You can't negotiate with a spider. And then she locks the spiders in his panic room. Okay? What are they going to do? If they manage to get into the food supply that he has there, and they manage to open that up for them, okay, that'll last a little while. And then they'll run out of food. Then they'll eat each other. And then there'll be one spider that starves to death. Is that really more humane than getting rid of them? And you're also risking somebody coming down there and discovering it and, getting it open somehow or something, and then releasing them right back out there, and you've got the same problem all over again. I mean, just get rid of them. They're not sapient. You don't have to worry. This isn't a data issue. This isn't like, the Measure of a Man sort of Star Trek episode where he's like, okay, well, is he sentient? Massively curtailing it for others, whatever. These aren't intelligent. These are just giant spiders. Yes, it's sad to kill them, but they're going to. It's like putting down a rabid dog. It's if you let them go, or you let them sit there and possibly escape at some point, they're going to hurt a lot of people, and they're going to starve, and they're going to eat each other, and it's going to be carnage. Meanwhile, you could just, quickly put them out of their misery and make it less of a problem for people down the road. You also didn't check for eggs. Where are the eggs? Has they laid another clutch? They've laid another clutch. What about that? Yeah, the ending felt half-baked to me.
Yeah, that part I agree. Like there were a lot of logistic issues with it, but I liked the character development in it, the backstory.
I think that's mostly what the episode was for.
Yeah.
Spiders presented a crisis that is needed in pretty much every Doctor Who episode, but
the main importance of this episode wasn't so much the bad guys as it was the good guys.
like it was with the Rosa episode.
Yeah.
It's more about the characters coming into their own than it is about the crisis they face.
Yeah, but the thing is, Yeah, Graham and Ryan seem like they're doing pretty well, but what did they're showing like Ryan's got his growth with a proper family. I don't like that. I don't like that proper family thing. And he's growing together with Graham a lot more than his father because Graham's there for him. His father
Mhm.
hasn't been, and I like that. I like that he's growing closer to Graham, who has been super nice, and they have sort of a common bond with his with who they loved,
Mm.
and who they lost, and they've got a tight bond with that, and that's growing, and that's cool. I like that. That's good development. Okay, I like that. They're moving forward with that a little bit. I knew it was going to happen, but it was nice to see it happen. But the Doctor doesn't move a whole lot. I mean, and Yaz, what does Yaz do?
Well, you get to see more of her background.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. I would personally rather have have her father on the TARDIS than her because he's a lot more entertaining. Conspiracy theorist, and it's like he makes the bad whatever food it was. I forget what it was. He's a lot more
I don't
entertaining.
even remember. It was some sort of Italian food, I think.
I
I
think
never
they're.
looked it
I
up
I,
'cause it was
I
just
want to say they're Pakistani.
no, no, no. I know they're Pakistani,
But I thought that
They're
was what the
Greek,
food was.
but
Maybe I could be wrong. I don't remember what it
sounded
was.
the food sounded like it would. It sounded Italian.
I don't know. I don't know what I wouldn't know what I don't remember what it was, and who knows. But it was still he's sort of a conspiracy theorist, and and he's kind of quirky, and he's a lot of fun for what you see on him. Because maybe it would get tiring after a while, but he seems like a fun guy. He's not a mushroom yet. Doctor Who probably.
I was just about to say, well, I mean, if you want fun guy, Toad.
At some point, Doctor Who is going to have mushrooms as a villain, if they haven't already. So,
Oh, come on, you seem like a fun guy.
and if they have a mushroom episode, and the Doctor doesn't say, "Oh, well, aren't you a fun guy?" I will be disappointed. But yeah, I mean, I like the bit with Ryan joining together with Graham. I think that's a good idea. I think that's cool. I think, and them baiting the spider and catching the little one, and then they all start running after them, and they run. Though how you stop them from following you, I guess the kitchen door is strong enough or something. But how they got away without the spiders continuing to follow them, but that's not a big deal. But yeah, you just see them running. That's funny. That's great. It's heroic. It's funny. They're, you know, he's acting as bait, and then Ryan's jumping out there with the lid and catching it. It's like that's really a cool thing for them to do. But
Nice little bond experience and everything.
yeah, I like their development. They've been showing some
Why did
bravery,
it
some
have spiders?
yeah, yeah, they're showing bravery and interesting character development, and then Yaz just feels like she's being just sat still. You just sit over there and you know,
Ignored.
yeah, you don't, I mean, they brought in her family, and that is part of it, and we get a little bit of her family development, like her relationships with her sister and that sort of thing, sister
Her
and her
sister
parents.
reminds me of my sister, a complete tool. And it really annoyed me because it's like she's there, like, oh, so you two are together? Oh no, we're just mates. Oh, good. Like, okay.
Yeah, but that's like her only development is, you know, what her family. We don't get anything with her. What is she alone and away from her family? What is she like? And it just feels like Yaz sort of getting put up on a shelf, and nothing's really happening with her.
Well, for this episode,
fourth or fifth episode. I forget which one. But it's just she's not. You know. Even Ryan's gotten a little bit. Graham's gotten a little bit. Everybody's gotten a little bit. Doctor's smattering of stuff here and there, but Yaz is just sort of sat there for the most part. Maybe the next episode we'll get she'll show her sort of true colors, and we'll start to understand her too.
Rosa, with her conversation with Rosa and her conversation with Ryan behind the bins.
What?
We saw a little bit of her personality and like more along the lines of who she is during Rosa, when she was talking to Rosa Parks in the shop, and then talking with, and her own sister said she's married to her work. Her personality is more by the book, kind of a Twilight Sparkle type, where she lives for her job.
But yeah, just something a little more interesting.
Over time, she's actually going to probably. I think she's coming out of that. Like, she lives for her job right now. She's kind of a workaholic.
Well, certainly stepping onto the TARDIS will do that. It'll force you to step out of the she's still a police officer, but she's sort of stepping out of that role a little bit by going on the TARDIS with the Doctor. She's stepping out of that role, so that maybe her accepting that she's going places that are dangerous and new and whatnot and interesting. We will get more out of her, but it always felt a little, she had less to her, but and it just, what else to say about this episode? I mean,
giant cute spiders.
What?
They were cute. I think they looked kind of like wolf spiders.
I don't really consider spiders capable of cute, but
I have seen cute spiders.
I like spiders.
I do too.
I don't hate them. I just, if they're in the house, I leave them alone because they're killing something. And it's probably something I want killed, so leave them alone. It's like, I want flies killed, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave the spiders alone because that's precisely what they do. So,
yep.
Yeah, let's just do that. Let's just leave those spiders alone and let them kill things. Good.
They do me a service, and so I leave them alone.
Yes. And, yeah, I didn't have a huge problem with them. I mean, they're sort of pretty standard CGI for Doctor Who. Though that's got to be interesting running, running from a CGI enemy is always a funny thought for me. Because what does that look like for the actors trying to...
Usually it's like a green screen, just like somebody holding a rubber spider or something. Just
yeah, they know where the eye line is supposed to be. Yeah,
exactly.
Or some practical effects going off behind them as they're running that they can look back at and see, oh no, that's where the spider is. I should look at that and run away.
Yeah.
I'd dragging a toy spider by a string.
Yeah, there's basically something to where they have an eye line that they can go, okay, I know I need to be talking to there. and there, looking there. That's where my eye lines need to be so that I'm not, it doesn't look like I'm looking to my left, but the spider is to my right. It's,
Yeah.
I know where I am. I know what I'm looking at. And also, it looks like we're looking at the same thing. But yeah, that's got to be an interesting thing, especially if they use something a little goofy as the eye line catch. It must be, it's like trying to keep serious in that situation. It's like, oh yes, this is a little spider, little prop spider.
Just
and
give the spider a happy face.
Or like just somebody in like a spider costume. Somebody dressed as Spider-Man. A green Spider-Man.
Which that's how
And of course, whenever he stops to whip at them.
well, and you have the reason the spiders are gigantic, the toxic wastes. It's like, okay, I suppose you've though I think the problems for the spiders would, I'm not sure where they are, but I know at a certain size they would start to collapse on their own, and I think it would be a lot sooner than the mother one. But they probably did their research on it. But it seems like, I think that it seems reasonable to me that it was the level where the spiders would be having problems would be a lot sooner than the size of a dog. Trouble breathing, trouble maintaining their own weight, like trying to, because at a certain point they become unstable and, but yeah, you can't.
That's the problem with exoskeletons.
Yeah, they work really well at a small size. On small scales, they're amazing. But when you get above a certain size, it starts to cause problems, and you really need to switch to endoskeletons, because above a certain size, they're the way to go. You can't exoskeleton your way around.
Yeah.
You need an inner support structure.
But
Anyway. And then the doctor did a thing and the day was saved.
Yeah. Well, it's debatable whose day was saved and whether the doctor made the right decision in just locking them in his panic room and letting them eventually resort to cannibalism and eventually slow starvation of the last one alive.
Those spiders are going to... Don't worry, those spiders are going to be examined by top men.
Top men?
Men.
Well, maybe. Well,
Indiana
they do
Jones
have
reference.
those people. They call them Unit. Maybe she called Unit and went,
Yeah.
okay,
Send
Unit.
them to Osgood.
Say, okay, Unit.
Osgood's busy.
I've got this box of giant spiders that I've locked up. If you could deal with them, that would be great.
So Osgood might be busy, but what about Osgood?
She might be
Because
free.
there's two of them. Yeah.
But
So send them to Osgood.
yeah, they may have gone. Okay, yeah, off screen. Osgood and Kate Stewart. Yes. This place has spiders underneath it. I locked them in the panic room. They're really big. They're about the size of a dog, and there's a lot of them. So, yeah, they're going to start. They're going to be really hungry by the time you get to them. So, yeah, be prepared for that. You might want to deal with them in whatever way you see fit.
And Unit is against hurting if they can help it. So they'll probably find a nice, humane way of dealing with them.
Milk them for spider silk, for giant spider silk.
There's spiders on the moon.
And they carry a harpoon.
No, that's the Dune on the moon.
That was a Dragoon platoon on the moon, which is a really cruel thing to do to somebody who's got a natural Scottish accent.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, ducks go to the moon all the time. They even have a nifty theme song for it.
But
I'm referring to the DuckTales level in the video game.
yes, I know.
And now it's stuck in my head.
Of course, it's DuckTales.
It's not the DuckTales.
No, I know, but it's still DuckTales.
Yeah.
And
then there was silence again.
yeah, thinking about what else to talk about. I mean,
What was I just talking about? Something
I mean-
about quiet? I don't know.
Silence or done.
wait, do you have any Sharpie marks on your arm?
I don't.
I actually.
Wait a minute. That wasn't there before.
I actually do, because when I process shoes, I tally how many boxes I've done on my arm.
Nice. That's got to be one of the easiest cosplays to do. Just have the tally marks on your arm and say, "I'm running from the silence."
And then have a friend dress up as a silence. A silence?
Who only appears behind people.
On last Saturday, they had a scary skate, which was, basically just a costume party on ice.
Mhm.
At the skating place where my nephew gets his lessons. Somebody actually dressed as an weeping angel, and
God.
they the sad thing is they actually won a prize for their costume, and the guy who's doing the announcing is like, all right, tell everybody what you are, because most people don't know.
Skating a far less common pastime in my neck of the woods.
Gee, I wonder why.
Because you couldn't? Things don't freeze over?
Things.
What's ice?
Ice is a phenomenon that happens in something that you might not be familiar with. It's called cold. It turns water into a solid surface upon which you can stand that has no friction to it.
Well, it has minor friction, but
Minor friction, but
And
not enough
there
for you
is
to keep your balance.
friction. And there is more friction the more you skate on it, because of all of the
it
little
gets chewed up.
lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And unlike skating on pavement with wheels, you have to skate on ice with blades on your feet. So
Yeah.
never kick someone when wearing ice skates.
You're basically strapping knives to your feet and running around on a very hard, very slippery surface.
Dude, ice skating
fun.
ass.
It's fun.
It's quite fun.
I was dressed as Rainbow Dash, and Jack was dressed as Spike. So, of course, I was whipping around the rink, and I intentionally crashed a few times just so that I could say I'm Rainbow Crash.
Well, I mean,
Because Pegasi suck. I mean, what?
Excuse me, what? Mutiny? Mutiny one?
Anyway, back to the episode. I mean, the villain is sort of generic and, evil generic corporate guy.
American, of course.
American, yeah, is stabbing it, trying to take a stab at Trump. It's like it really falls flat when you're just like, it really falls pretty flat. But
No, he hates Trump apparently.
yeah, but yeah, that's just so they can okay, with this one line we can get away with. Well, no, we're not. He isn't Trump. He doesn't like Trump. That's what it is. And it's like, and he says it in that one line. It's like clearly you're trying to take a stab at America / Trump.
Well, I mean, just because you don't like Trump doesn't make you a good person.
True.
But yeah, it's just sort of and then we get that's a whole thorny branch right there. But it sort of falls flat. But it's
Although they did make another Trump reference before in the 12th Doctor era, he in the episode with the Vatican and stuff, when the Doctor was blind, the was it the Pope or something went to Bill and is like, we need you to talk to you. We wanted to contact the president. And she's like, I'm not American. Even if I did, I wouldn't have voted for that orange guy.
Whatever. But yeah, it's sort of it again, the villain's uninteresting. The resolution is weak. The Doctor's solution is debatable unless she's actually called in unit and said, "Hey, can you clean this mess up? I just left some spiders in a box." Why? I can only imagine the other side of that conversation. Some spiders in a box? How big is the box? Oh, it's a panic room.
I can imagine.
How big are the spiders?
Why did it have to be spiders?
I mean, what's
Nope.
Oh, about the size of a dog.
wasn't the plan
Well,
to?
I mean, they've dealt with 6-meter crocodilians, so why not?
Yeah, well, it's just like, yeah, just like all right, where are they? Okay. How big's the panic room?
I always did
Alright.
like a good set of eggs.
How big is the box? How big are the spiders? Oh, dog size. That's new. How many of them? Okay. All right, we'll send somebody down to take care of it. And send one of the flunkies down. If you have anybody who's not,
get that.
it's like, hey, is Will over there? Is he afraid of spiders? Send him. Because that's the sort of jerk moves I can imagine somebody.
I can
who's
imagine
not-
as soon as Osgood starts examining these things, Josh says something about a nice set of legs.
But yeah, just like unit, just like there's the unit dispatch, the one there's got to be somebody who's handling that sort of taking calls and whatnot, and it's like, all right, yeah, and passing him along to Kate and whatnot, and knowing what's going on. It's like, yes, we've got this. We'll send this group. We don't need to send any main groups. Doctor's already sort of filled us in on what's going on with that. All right, and spiders. Again. Osgood, can you think of anything to do with these spiders? No, not really. Okay, just get rid of them somehow. And make sure you burn the bodies and make a pass over the area. Make sure we don't have any eggs hanging around. Just like, yeah, that's the only way that makes this
something different.
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes that would make this episode less that's sort of disappointing. We'll see what the next one is. Like, it should be. I'm curious. I'd like the Doctor to get a little more personality. Yaz, a little more, and an actual resolution to the antagonists of the episodes in some regards.
Well, that's what multi-episode build-up is for. Here's all these things that they haven't really resolved. Now they're going to come back and bite her in the ass.
Well, I mean, just talking about antagonists getting kind of weak resolutions, like the spiders and the... Yeah, I mean, if they come back later and say, okay, well, now we've got time-traveling races with giant spiders, okay, that's different. Those would not be things I would put together, but time-traveling races with giant spiders, okay. If he showed up again, all right, but I think we're going to see Tim Shaw before we see either the spiders or the time-traveling racist again.
They've mentioned Shimshaw's race. I forget what it's called right now offhand.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, actually see them. They've been mentioned, yes.
In the second episode, his race is the one who created that planet.
Yeah.
He was,
like,
his people. So.
But I mean, just like actually seeing them show up. It's like,
yeah, I have no doubt that we're gonna see them again.
We'll see Tim Shaw's people, actually the people. We've seen the results with the Ghost Monument, but like seeing him actually, him or his people, we'll probably see them before we see time traveling racists or any of the giant spiders again, unless they're playing some super long game that's going to be quite the
another
thing.
Bad Wolf.
Time traveling racist. Bad Wolf.
I swear, time traveling racist sounds like a Cyanide and Happiness character.
No, the time traveling racist. I mean, really, if
the chronological Ku Klux Commander.
The chrono Ku Klux Klan. but yeah, and really that's another thing about the guy who was in the 50s. I mean, if he just wanted to be around a bunch of dealing with a bunch of racists, he didn't want to have to deal with other races being equal. He could have just, instead of trying to shove the whole thing around, he could have just stayed where he was and lived among the kind of people he wants to live in his sort of ideal world. He could just live there. He didn't have to shove anything. He could have just lived there as I mean, he'd eventually have to deal with the civil rights movement, which he wouldn't be too happy with, but he could have gone back earlier and gone, all right, when am I going to be able to live out the rest of my life without having to deal with the civil rights movement? Well, it would be this time. Just like go there and not have to not have to live out his just live out his life in a nice, calm, but heavily racist era. It's like, but yeah, his endings feel a little thin sometimes, but he has the rest of the series to sort of sort out what he's going to do with the Doctor and Yaz and actually get a satisfying resolution outside of the Ghost Monument. And the Woman Who Fell from Earth. I guess those two had a decent one, and then Rosa, there's one of them had a resolution that wasn't great for the antagonist, and then this one also not a great resolution for the antagonists. But anyway, we are. If we have nothing else to say, we're just about out of time.
It's 10 and I am say goodbye because I am tired and floofy and sexy.
I believe one of those.
Yeah. And it's not the sexy.
Damn it.
Floofy?
Not the sexy.
Floofy?
Echo that. Anyway, goodbye, stream people.
Bye-bye.
Right, peasants.
Sayonara.
Yeah.
And
Peace.
Thank you, a
stop.
great and powerful Trixie.